Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're setting off on, well, a really unique kind of exploration. It's a deeply personal story about family, about identity, and about the surprising truths that can surface in a young girl's life.
Yeah, and we're drawing from a novel this time, which gives us this really intimate look into the protagonist's world, her feelings, her experiences.
Exactly. So our mission today is to, pull out some core ideas about belonging, about finding yourself, and really how our whole idea of family can just shift, sometimes dramatically, when reality hits differently than expected. We'll be following a really compelling story as we do it.
It's a great example, I think, of how fiction can really light up these fundamental human things. It shows us that the biggest insights, they often come from these very personal narratives.
Hmm.
And what's really interesting here is how the author, Cathy Cassidy, seems to have woven in bits of her own life. It just gives the whole thing this feeling of authenticity, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's always fascinating when you see those little overlaps between an author's life and their fiction. So Cathy Cassidy lives out in the Scottish countryside. She's got her husband, kids, pets, including, apparently, a mad hairy lurcher. That's the kind of dog.
Right.
A sight out.
Yeah, they're known for being fast, sometimes a bit wild.
Sounds very much like Leggett in the story. And she's also an art teacher. And get this, an agony aunt for a magazine?
Right.
So you have to wonder, how much of her own world, her own experiences, do you think actually shaped Dizzy's story?
Well, she's actually pretty open about some of it. It's not just the dog. She's mentioned things like being a chocolate-eating vegan or, still drinking yucky herb tea. These little details, I feel so specific.
Yeah.
Like little echoes of real life grounding the story. She even apparently has a slightly charred toy mouse stuck to her pinboard, which, feels like a direct link to that symbol in the book.
Wow, okay.
It's a way, I think, to make the story feel more true, more relatable, connecting her own life to Dizzy's search for belonging.
Speaking of symbols and belonging,
Yeah.
let's focus on Dizzy herself. From really early on, she has this deep, deep longing for her absent mother. You really see it in this this special birthday tradition she has with her dad. It's like this carefully constructed ideal, maintained through gifts and distance, and it's about to get seriously challenged.
That longing is so powerful, isn't it? And it shows the psychological weight of a parent just not being there. The birthday ritual is perfect. Dad brings breakfast in bed, cheese on toast cut into numbers.
Right.
But the night before, she can't sleep. Not because she's excited for presents in general, but waiting, hoping for that card, that parcel from her, from Mom.
Yeah.
These weren't just gifts, were they? There were symbolic lifelines. Think about what she got over the years. A postcard from Kathmandu with these staring temple eyes. Another one of a donkey from Ireland. This handmade rag doll with yarn hair, a rainbow hat she wore till it fell apart.
Wow.
A dream catcher, a silver chain with a crystal. Each one was like this fragile thread keeping hope alive. A really desperate kind of hope almost.
It just shows how much emotional weight those simple things carried for her. Especially that letter she got when she was 11.
Oh, definitely. That letter was huge. It said her mom loved her, promised they'd be together again. It was difficult. But Dizzy, she rolled it up, tied it with yarn from the rag doll, put it in her treasure box. But she kept the envelope stuck on her pinboard just so she could see her mom's loopy gel pen handwriting. It's quite striking because Dizzy can't really remember her mom properly.
No.
Just fragments. From two photos on that same pinboard. One's a wedding picture, Mom's tiny elfin, got this startling lilac-colored hair, wearing a dress like a lace tablecloth with stripy tights and Doc Martens. Dizzy was just a bump then.
All right, okay.
The other photo, Dizzy's a tiny baby, and her mom looks pale and bewildered, hair chopped short, just lost, unhappy.
Those images really paint a picture, don't they? Of a pretty turbulent past, seems like. Setting things up for what happens next. Her mom left when Dizzy was only 4. And before that, their life sounds completely nomadic. A bus, a caravan, a squat, finally a council flat. Touring festivals, selling crafts, lentil soup, dream catchers, that sort of thing.
Right, living that alternative lifestyle. Working odd jobs, organic gardens, whole food cafes.
Sounds like her dad really tried to give her some stability, though.
Yeah.
A name, a family, a future, as the book puts it. But then, Mom just ran off. The guy named Mitch took the VW camper van to Kathmandu.
That abandonment, it really highlights the dad's resilience, doesn't it? He and Dizzy stayed put in the council flat. He went to college, learned ceramics, started making mugs and bowls, these wiggly-edged plates and little elfy things that Dizzy thought looked a bit like her mom.
Oh, wow.
And their life improved. They went from just lentil stew to, French bread, oven chips, and frozen vegetable lasagna. They actually became happy, just the two of them.
But Dizzy still had that pinboard.
Exactly. Draped in fairy lights, her dad called it some kind of Hindu shrine. All those postcards, the hat, the photos, the doll, it was, in her words, all I've got of my mom. Her connection to this missing, probably quite idealized past.
And then, bam, 12th birthday. That anchor gets ripped right up. Her mother, Storm, just shows up.
Yeah.
Talk about a dramatic entrance. And reality immediately starts clashing with those fantasies Dizzy's held onto for years.
This is where it gets really complex, doesn't it? That whole dynamic of the long-awaited reunion versus the messy reality. Storm pulls up in this big, grubby van, patched up, different colors, "Wash me" written in the dirt.
Right.
And Storm herself, she's older, small, tanned, got smiley wrinkles, short-headed hair, tons of earrings, an eyebrow stud, wearing weird stripy trousers, a faded vest, no bra, her teeth are kind of yellow.
Not quite the idealized image then.
Not at all. Dizzy's confused. She expects this big rush of happiness, a hug maybe, but she just feels sort of misty, tearful. It's only the smell of patchouli oil, the scent of my childhood, she calls it, that triggers this deep emotional thing, and they have this tearful hug. But straight away, you see this clash, the fantasy versus the unvarnished reality of Storm. It sets up this huge sense of disillusionment right from the start.
And it's not just how Storm looks, is it? It's her whole vibe, immediately clashing with Dizzy's life. She announces she's vegan these days.
Right.
And for the birthday meal, she suggests miso soup and red bean stew and muesli cake, completely dismissing the pizza tradition.
Yeah, poor Dizzy hates kidney beans, thinks muesli cake is like hamster bedding. She tries to go along with it, but you can feel the awkwardness.
It really sets the tone, doesn't it, for how things are going to unravel. And then we find out her name isn't even Storm.
No, Linda Caroline Tanner originally. She just decided to be Storm when Dizzy was little. Dizzy thinks about the name. Hailstones, thunder, gale force winds. It's pretty telling.
Definitely foreshadowing. And Storm's personality,
Yeah.
raiding the fridge, taking stuff, justifying it by saying Dizzy isn't vegan.
Self-serving right from the get-go. She gives Dad this really strong cider, scrumpy, brings carob that tastes like dirt, and tarot cards.
Ah, the tarot reading. That felt like a real turning point. Storm offers Dizzy this glimpse of the future. Adventure, travel, freedom, the end of childhood.
Yeah, but Dad's having none of it. He's skeptical, protective, calls it superstitious rubbish, not a game, and actually knocks the cards onto the floor. The tension just ramps right up.
And then the big ask.
Yeah.
Storm wants Dizzy to come with her for the summer. Festivals. Mother-daughter bonding.
Dad's reaction is instant. No. He's worried about school, tests, her concert, eating metal soup, hanging out with losers. He's thinking, practically.
But Storm, she doesn't give up, does she? This is where the real deception kicks in.
It really is. It's quite calculated. She whispers to Dizzy, "Trust me," hints that Dad agreed because he was drunk on the scrumpy. Then, 5 in the morning, she wakes Dizzy up, claims it's all sorted, no hassles, boasts that she can always wind Pete around my little finger, rushes Dizzy to pack, tells her to leave school stuff, don't make a fuss saying goodbye to Dad.
So Dizzy leaves thinking her dad said yes.
Exactly. She believes him. But we, the listeners, we know it's a lie. It's manipulation. It's chilling, really. Sets Dizzy off on this path she never actually agreed to.
So the deception's complete. Dizzy's suddenly thrown into this completely different world, life on the road, and her ideas about freedom, about family, they're about to get totally shaken up.
Yeah, she has to adapt fast. The van itself is this patchwork thing, red, blue, gray, purple door. Inside, it's a mad, multicolored nest of quilts and cushions, kitchen bits, stove bells.
Sounds cozy. Or chaotic.
Probably both. And Storm casually mentions the festivals in Scotland now, not Wales, like she'd said before. More little lies. Dizzy finds the whole festival scene overwhelming at first. Dusty old junkyard wrecks, ragbag people. She says it feels worse than reading out loud in assembly.
Oh, poor kid.
But then there's this smell of wood smoke, and it's familiar, comforting. A little echo from her very early childhood, something she barely remembers.
And she starts meeting people, right? This new cast of characters.
Absolutely. There's Leggett, the dog. Terrifying at first, but becomes important. Tess, who's plump and dark-haired, and turns out she actually made Dizzy's rag doll all those years ago.
No way.
Yeah. Then Finn, this sulky teenager, an old friend of Storm's apparently, and Zach.
Yeah.
Storm's partner. Tanned, lean, eyes like chips of green ice. Dizzy's totally shocked. Another thing her mom never mentioned.
The secrets just keep piling up. And then there's Mouse.
Mouse, Zach's son, described as mousy, colorless, lived with his mom before this. He's quiet, seems hostile. You hear him whimpering at night, clearly carrying some baggage. Tess says he doesn't like anyone much except her because she feeds him and Leggett the dog.
Sounds like he's had a tough time.
Definitely. And then comes another shock for Dizzy, discovering people at the festival are smoking dope, weed, spliffs. Finn confirms it, says it's illegal, but brushes it off, no worse than drink or tobacco. But Dizzy, who's had the school lessons about drug dangers, she's properly shocked. Her idealized view of this free life is starting to crack.
It's interesting that Finn has a different take, though.
Yeah, he does. He thinks the weed just makes people lazy, stops them actually doing the things they talk about, like Storm and Zach always vaguely planning this healing center in India or Spain. Finn says he wants more out of life than this. It shows a bit of perspective from him.
And they have that run-in in the village, don't they?
They do. When they go to recycle and get supplies, the locals stare, mutter about crusty kids, worry they'll start nicking things or selling drugs. Finn tells Dizzy just to stay cool, show him that you're as good as anyone. He's got a bit of resilience about him.
But the problems with Mouse escalate, right? The stealing.
Yeah, it becomes a real issue. Dizzy sees him try to steal chocolate, then a scooter. Finn ends up paying for it, totally fed up, just says flat out, he steals. It's a fact. He'll not stop just because I ask him to.
Yeah.
And then Finn reveals why Mouse might be acting out. His mom. She's a junkie, heroin addict, in rehab in London.
Oh my God.
It just lands. Suddenly, Mouse's behavior makes a different kind of sense. But it also raises huge red flags about his situation. And sure enough, the police get involved because of the stealing.
What happens?
They give Storm and Zach a serious warning. Talk about social services, taking Mouse into care if things don't change. They stress the need for discipline, clear boundaries, routine, everything that seems totally absent.
And how does Storm react to that?
Panic. Pure panic. She insists they have to leave right now. Got a bad feeling the police will come back. She's terrified being busted for drugs, the van getting checked, Mouse being taken.
Her priorities seem pretty clear.
Totally. She even specifically asks Dizzy if she gave the police Pete's address. Her dad's worried he would go mad. And then this really desperate, awful moment where she tries to manipulate Dizzy into staying. She literally says, I can claim money for looking after her. Meaning Dizzy, promising they'd be one big happy family. It's just, wow. Dizzy finally sees it clearly. She's just being used as a potential babysitter, a way to get benefits. And she knows Zach doesn't really want her there.
That's devastating.
It is. But then Mouse, in this tiny, hopeful moment, holds Dizzy's hand. And she feels this connection. He feels like me. He never had a family, not a proper one. It's just heartbreaking. Shows how much he needs connection too.
So things are really unraveling. They move on from the festival?
Yeah, the situation forces them out. They end up relocating to Tess's place, Bramble Cottage, which sounds idyllic, actually, pure hippie heaven. Roses, nettles, a goat called Cedric, chickens, frogs.
Sounds a bit more stable, maybe.
Relatively. They meet Finn's gran there, crinkly skirts, bells, the whole image, and his brother Niall. So this sort of makeshift family unit expands a bit.
And didn't they find a refuge there? The treehouse?
Yeah, a simple little treehouse becomes Mouse's safe space. And there's this really lovely scene where Dizzy shows Finn and Mouse the pole star, tells them it's always there no matter what. And Mouse just whispers, nobody can get us here. It shows how scared he is of bad people. Finn and Dizzy promise to protect him. It's this moment of them forming their own little bond, their own sense of responsibility, separate from the adults.
But the deception with the postcards continues.
Oh, yeah. Dizzy keeps writing to her dad, trying to maintain that connection, but Storm keeps intercepting them. Always has an excuse. I'll add a message. I'll post it later. Just keeps Dizzy isolated.
And then a phone call.
That's brutal. Dizzy finally manages to call home, but Lucy answers. Dad's new partner. Dizzy just assumes the worst. Dad's moved on, forgotten her, happy she's gone. She hangs up feeling stupid, idiotic, crazy for worrying. It's just crushing for her.
Until her dad actually shows up.
Exactly. And when he finally arrives looking older, gray at the temples, sad face. With Lucy, he is absolutely furious, and the truth just comes pouring out.
What does he reveal?
Everything. That Storm didn't just take her for a holiday, she kidnapped her. That he's been frantic, searching for 9 weeks and 6 days. That Dizzy was officially on the missing persons list.
Oh, my goodness.
He never got a single postcard. And worse, the police had identified Dizzy during that shoplifting incident back in the Met. Storm knew they were looking for her and said nothing. Just kept lying. Dizzy's whole world just collapses.
Unbelievable. And then there's the truth about Zach's money, too.
Yeah, another layer of deceit. Turns out Zach isn't some struggling traveler. He's loaded, comes from a well-posh family, got a big inheritance, but he still complains about money for food while Tess is the one providing most of it. It just shows how selfish they are.
And all this leads up to the bonfire accident, doesn't it?
It does. The absolute terrifying climax of this whole chaotic period. It's Finn's birthday. They have a bonfire. Mouse decides to try this BMX jump over the bonfire with sparklers taped to his wheels. Insanely reckless. He crashes right into the flames. And Dizzy has this horrible realization that she might have inadvertently contributed because she'd kicked the takeoff ramp back a bit earlier.
Oh, no.
But Finn is heroic. Without a second thought, he runs straight into the fire, pulls Mouse out, uses his own body to smother the flames.
Wow. That's incredible bravery.
Truly. But the consequences are severe. They both end up in hospital. Mouse has serious burns, head, shoulder, hands, facing severe scarring. Finn's got serious burns on his feet. And now, of course, social workers are definitely involved. Mouse might be taken into care.
What about Zach? Does he even care?
His reaction is just appalling. He calls, but he's in Goa by now, his main concern.
Yeah.
His precious healing center idea and asking about money from selling a teepee they had, zero concern for Mouse.
You're kidding.
No. Dizzy's dad ends up taking the phone, absolutely livid, tearing into both Zach and Storm. Tess has to explain that Mouse's mom is sick in rehab, and Zach's response. He suggests maybe Dizzy could come out to Goa too to keep an eye on Mouse. Just unbelievable lack of responsibility.
That is just staggering. What a gut-wrenching series of events. But hopefully, out of all this chaos, Dizzy starts to find her way back. Find what home really means.
Yes, slowly but surely. It's a process. Mouse eventually gets out of the hospital around November. He's placed with a foster family in London near his mom's clinic. He looks different, clean, neat, but he's quiet, sullen. Changed by it all.
Does he keep in touch with Dizzy?
He gives her his little toy mouse, the one that got scorched in the fire. It's like this token, this symbol of what they went through together. And Leggett, the dog, she gets a new life too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she goes to live with Dizzy and Dad, gets trained, becomes reformed. Not quite the spiky, excitable festival dog anymore, though Dizzy hopes her wicked, wolfish side might pop out when they visit Tess and Finn. It's these little steps back towards normality, towards healing.
And Dizzy's own home, her room, changes too, right?
Significantly. Lucy, Dad's partner, moves in, and Dizzy finds she doesn't mind as much as she expected. The big change is her pinboard, that shrine to her mom. It gets replaced. Now it's filled with bits of my life, things that make me smile.
Like what?
Photos of Finn, of Mouse, her school friends. It's a shift from focusing on this idealized, absent past to embracing her actual present, her real connections. She even sends her dream catcher to Mouse, thinking he needs it more now. It shows her growing empathy, her solidifying these new bonds.
That's a really powerful shift, isn't it? From fantasy to reality.
It really is. It marks her self-discovery. She's building her chosen family. And Finn's part of that, too. He's making plans, music college, maybe starting a band. He teaches Dizzy guitar. They share a first kiss on a beach. And Dizzy has this realization. In the family we've invented, Finn and me are not brother and sister. It highlights how these relationships, forged through shared experience, are real and complex, different from just blood ties.
What about Storm? Does she just disappear?
Not quite. She sends a Christmas letter from Goa, still drifting, still talking about the wildest time, smoking and watching the stars. She actually suggests Dizzy come live with her. Sends a piece of sari fabric, but adds this note. Vegans don't wear silk.
Oh, for crying out loud. Still missing the point.
Completely. It just underlines how superficial her grasp on things is. That fleeting freedom she chases, it's not rooted in any real responsibility or understanding.
And that idea of the pole star comes back, doesn't it?
Yes. Storm's message from way back that it's always there even if you can't see it, it really resonates with Dizzy now. Back home in Birmingham, she can only see the city's orange glow at night, not the stars, but she says she can feel it, dream it.
Like an internal compass.
Exactly. It symbolizes those constant truths, those real connections she's found, even when life's messy or confusing. They're there, underneath it all.
So she finds a kind of peace, an acceptance.
I think so, a hard-won acceptance. She understands that things evolve, they can't stay the same forever. Her whole journey has been about resilience, figuring things out for herself, learning about the messy reality of family. And she finds his sense of belonging not with the mother she dreamed of, but with her dad, with Lucy, with Finn and Tess, and even with the memory and connection she still feels for Mouse.
It's a powerful journey.
It shows that family isn't always blood. It's about who shows up, who cares consistently, who provides that support, even if they're not the people you initially expected or hoped for.
What an incredible story Dizzy lives through, from that intense longing for this perfect reunion, only to face the harsh reality of her mother's choices and lifestyle. It's such a powerful look at self-discovery.
It really is.
And how understanding those difficult, hidden truths, even the painful ones, can actually lead you to a stronger sense of who you are and where you belong.
Absolutely. It really digs into how complex identity is, especially when a big piece of your past is missing or turns out to be totally different from what you thought. But it also makes such a strong point about growth coming from facing those tough realities, not just chasing some vague idea of freedom that's actually quite self-serving, like we see with Storm.
True personal growth versus just running away.
Exactly.
So thinking about Dizzy's journey, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Consider the pole star in your own life. What are those constant truths, those deep connections that stay with you even when things get confusing or overwhelming, like that city glow hiding the stars? What parts of your own life, things that seem fixed, might actually shift or show you something deeper if you looked a bit closer?